Okay, that was fast. All right, so I'm back. And we were just kind of discussing this thing called IMRAD, IMRAD. We talked about how the introduction is the I, M, the methods or the research methods, R is like your results. All right, and that is kind of where the bulk of your writing takes place. What you or your sometimes people call it research findings or results and findings. Either way, and then that leads you to your the DMRAI or the IMRD or IMRAD, depending on who you talk to, is a discussion, which then talks about, okay, so we have we'll have conclusions, recommendations that we have very specifically, and obviously you have your references. And I apologize that the formatting's all, I've had to move it from 3 different types of files off of the Wayne website to get it over here. So in this particular PDF, I couldn't get anything to move. Anyway, we'll talk about more about that when we get closer. So biggest thing to think about are these kind of big picture sections that you would, mainly be talking about. And those are the ones here that are in bold, in their case here, bold, all caps. And then their subsections within there are their lower, where they're lowercase and uppercase sections. And then obviously the ones that are italicized. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, but don't be too overly concerned about that as much as be thinking about what you see as far as content goes into each one of the section, what goes into the introduction, how are they talking about their methods, and this particular team here did a really good job of thinking about these in tasks so they could help them stay on point, every single one. So after their introduction and they move into their research method, task 1 was to perform background research on this, gather demographics. Task 2, gather demographics. So here are the very specific, here are the methods, here's why they did it, here's how they were going to do it. And then they broke them down by task. And that really made it nice too, when they, okay, now that we did those 4 things, right? Now we can talk about task 1, help them really stay on point, which you can kind of see that kind of helps a lot. Of course, right there again, this is a longer, a little bit longer report, but I think the same applies, right? And then you can use graphics to kind of demonstrate anything or you can, as they've done here, import graphics, maybe that was used in one of their peer-reviewed studies, right, that they looked at, to bring in to kind of help people visualize and see, in this case, this alarming trend that's taking place in Detroit, very specifically, right? So, and then here you see task 2. So plus 2, your audience can then kind of also follow. Okay, so when we're done with task 2, we can start talking about task 3 very specifically. Here are the results of what we found in the task 3 that was up here in our research methods. So you make all your statements there, right? And so we conclude all this said, very, very succinct, very tight, right? Here's what we conclude. It's a problem based on what we've seen. We're going from this one of these things that we're seeing here in this one area. It's coming down from Canada maybe, or it's happening here. And heroin deaths are on the rise, right? So that's the big conclusion. Boom. Here's what we recommend, right? And here are our 2 recommendations. And then, of course, obviously their references. Now, this is an APA format. So if you decide that you're going to do MLA format, then, obviously it would look perhaps a little different. But that's essentially a blown up picture of kind of what you see here. I'll have more specific in some of the details, what we can kind of think about in each one of these areas. And I'll get that to you as well. But I know samples seem to be the big thing everyone wanted to see. So there's the A sample, and here's one that's like in progress. You can kind of see there's this one here. You'll notice it's not completely done, but it's the summary is written, the introduction is written, research methods are written. You can kind of tell the difference too, right? The findings are still working on the findings. The conclusion's not there yet. Starting to think about recommendations, so you can kind of see how everyone was kind of working particularly on a different part. They still haven't got any references yet, and then the kind of telling me where these are going to go. But you can kind of get an idea of looking at these 2 samples of kind of like the format and kind of what things are anticipated, if you will, to go in these different sections, so that as you're working on them now. So I hope you find that beneficial and helpful. All right, guys, you stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll be back with more videos soon. All right, please let me know if there's more I can do for you. Take care. Bye.